This is cool. Clowette, we want to welcome you to the No Ideas Original Podcast. Thank you for agreeing to do this interview. So talk to us a little bit about growing up in Florida and how that influenced your artistry.
Oh, y'all don't know what y'all missing growing up in the South. I'll say growing up, I appreciate it now that I'm not in the South. I appreciate it more. But like the Southern hospitality, and then I have like Caribbean roots. So, I got like a little tropical, a little Southern, which I think is a great combination. So that to me is in all of my everything I do. It's in my music, it's in my art. I'm really colorful. I got on all black, but y'all listen.
Yes, you're very colorful. Yes,
I will be stressed. I'll be in a rainbow. I started to put my little ears on. I got to put bunny ears.
Your sunflower. Yeah. I love that right there.
That was my cosplay for the Disney fairies. That's another thing, y'all. I love fairies. We'll get into that later. Yes, but I'm super, super colorful, but not just like with attire and on the outside. Like I'm colorful inward. And like a lot of that comes from my upbringing. We had, like I said, a lot of Caribbean influence. I have family from the Caribbean, and I grew up in the South, being so close to it. So it's like a melting pot. And that Southern hospitality, and I don't know, it's just like people have good hearts everywhere, but that Southern heart show different. Like we wear it on our sleeve. We talk to everybody when you come out of the store. My dad is standing outside of Walmart and make 50 friends. Like that's what we do. Yeah, but you go somewhere else, it's like you can't, everybody just, especially in big cities, they just mind their business, whatever. But a lot of that is like, I don't know, I feel like in my music and in my art, I reach out to people to come get them. Like that's how we speak to people. Hey, how y'all doing? Hey, whatever. I don't wait for you to, like come into my world. I kind of put mine out there. I think that has something to do with my upbringing.
I say artistry because let me see, it's singer, songwriter, author, illustrator.
Oh, so you've been doing your research.
Yeah, we do. We definitely do research for this podcast.
I like doing interviews.
What made you decide to become an author?
Oh, I love to write. Writing is something I've been doing since I was a little girl. Like like I told you before we started this, I have the curse of gab. But for some reason I ain't gonna say I talk too much. People used to tell me that all the time. I have a lot.
That's what they say to me.
No, I have a lot to say.
You got a lot to say.
The stuff I'm saying is not no meaningless stuff. Almost everything I speak in quotes and in movie quotes and stuff. I'm always saying something a little profound, whether I'm trying to or not. But I have a whole bunch of that in me. But for some reason, I can't articulate it like I can write it. The way I write, and this is not me like trying to be haughty or anything, I'm past the stage where I am humble, but I'm just letting y'all know what it is. I write very poetically and very I got a little bit of everything, all of the Jane Austen that I love, and then the whimsical stuff that I love, and I write in that way. My writing is kind of real like cadency, and it's real, it's just like that. And I don't know, the writing for me is when y'all ain't hearing me on the forefront, which will be sooner than later, because I pass my torch while it's lit. Because my children and everything else, they are just, y'all gonna look up one day and they ain't gonna see me no more. My kids gonna come take it all. But that's what I'll always be doing. That writing, and everything comes from writing. Every single thing comes from writing. Right? A writer is like the highest paid profession, like of all professions. Everything is writing. Movies, they start from a book. Everything. If it's something legal, it's written up. Like everything is writing. Writing is behind everything. So that's what I'm gonna be doing. I'm gonna be doing that to the end.
Nice. One of the major liberal arts is writing, man. That's how we communicate. Yeah, agree with that. Yes. So you wrote. So let's hinge on the author. Talk about Tissy Rose.
Tissy Rose, that's my girl. So Tissy Rose is the main character of a whimsical series of children's books that I wrote and illustrated. And initially, I created the character because, well, first of all, it was hard for me to hone like all of my artistry into one thing, because I draw, I do glass art, I sculpt, I do a whole bunch of things, and I've always done like so many different things, but I wanted to do like I wanted to find an area that I can like put everything into. And to me, it came up into a story. It came to a story because that can become movies, can become, TV shows, toys, paraphernalia, just all of that. This whole world, everything starts from writing. So the main character originally started because y'all did y'all research, so y'all know I'm a mother of 8.
Yes. I got mother questions too, sis. Let's
bring them on. So I'm a mother of 8, but out of those 8 children, I have 6 daughters. Yeah. No, me and my husband was not trying for no boy. We was done at 4, but the TV broke. No, but we have 6 girls straight. And I had created the character Tissy Rose when I created my children's book when I was pregnant with my 4th daughter, I believe. But everybody was girls. So she kind of just she's like a little tomboy kind of whatever, because like that's how I was. But she kind of it was me, it was my sister, it was my mom, it was all my girls, in one. But that's where she came from. Now I have twin boy characters, which is representing my sons. I have twin boys. And all of those books and stuff gonna be coming out at the end of this year. But that's where she came from. Initially, you know what? At first, I was gonna write a book about my whole world was gonna be like mermaids, because I'm like, I love mermaids too. So it was gonna be like this whole water world mermaids. But I felt like it was so limited if I just made her a mermaid, like she could just only be in the water. But I said, if I make her a little girl, she can go everywhere. She can get in the water. She can be on land. She can go on voyages. She can do all this other stuff. And that's where she came from.
Nice.
I saw a little image, and I love the quote: "What boys don't learn, men won't know." Was that dedicated to your 2 boys?
Yes. You know what? Y'all do y'all work.
Yeah.
This is called No What? What is this podcast?
No Ideas Original.
No, listen, y'all do y'all work. Get me. Okay. Okay. So yes, that was dedicated to my boys, but not just the boys. I ain't gonna say it's sad, but I'm kind of embarrassed to say that I did not understand and respect and have the deep love that I have for men and boys now that I have my own sons. I always don't get me wrong. I love and respect men and boys, but I didn't understand it until I had my own sons. I have brothers, I have a dad, I have a husband, but it wasn't until I had those boys and I watched them, the way that they grow up, the way that they navigate through their life, I realized how, to me, like, I don't think boys and men are given enough soft love long enough. As soon as they get a certain age, you punching them in the chest and saying, boy, stop.
Man up.
Yeah, they be having feelings, and not even men. And I knew this, with my husband and stuff, but it just made me so empathetic. And so now I am so interested and so invested in boys and men. And I think that they get the short of the end of the stick so much, too much. And it's just, to me, I think a lot of things that men are like penalized for, it started when they were little. And they just started, they grow you up too fast. They harden y'all up too fast. And that's not fair. It is like super not fair. And that was dedicated to like all men, all boys.
Cloette, I thought you was putting us on the couch for a minute.
Whoa. Open up a little.
Yes. Gay, y'all.
Oh man. So what's in writing books and illustrating and all the different things you do? What would you say is your passion? I know writing is your passion, but I always ask people, like, when you look at the different things, the different hats that people wear, like even doing music itself, you sing, you write, you obviously perform, you illustrate, you write books. If you had to choose, and I say this crazy, if you had to choose 3 of those things or 2 of those things, which ones would it be?
That's a shame. That's how many things I do that you said choose 3 of them. Some people
I didn't say 1, right?
But, out of those 3 things, definitely it would be writing. It would be art. It'll be the 3 things I do: writing, art, and music. Like, but if I had to narrow it down, it would be in specific. It would be writing books, writing books, and it would be sculpting.
Okay.
It would be like that type of art, like physical art. And I'm singing.
Yeah.
Nice.
Speaking of writing and being a songwriter, what makes the difference between a good songwriter and a great songwriter?
Well, I'm humbled asking me that because I don't know if I'm considered a great songwriter. A lot of people don't even know my work, but I think what makes the difference between a great songwriter and a good songwriter is a great songwriter is gonna write something that's timeless, that's gonna 100 years from now another human being will be able to relate to. It's still gonna connect and correlate to whatever's going on earth and just in the universe. A good songwriter is somebody that knows like how to commercially like do what they need to do to make it do what it do at the time, and they got a formula and it works. But I think a great songwriter is timeless. It's something that it's just immortal what they write about.
Okay, so now tell me, who's a good songwriter and who's a great songwriter in your opinion?
Okay.
Hey, hold on. Let me add this disclaimer in it for anybody who may see this. To even be considered a good songwriter, that in itself speaks volumes.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So there's I'm not saying, telling you to answer this to slight anybody, but I think there are levels to it, right? And there's a lot of artists that write, and there's a lot of artists that write.
Yeah. See, I wish I'd have had these questions first, Lord. Let me think. I'll say
take your time.
I'll say a good songwriter, and even though I'm not necessarily so much of a fan of this person's music, I think a good songwriter is Taylor Swift.
Okay.
And I think a great songwriter is Stevie Wonder.
Okay.
Yeah. You speak. Look. We on the same page because that's whenever I think great, I always go Stevie. I always go Stevie. You know, who's another great songwriter to me? Babyface.
Yeah.
Okay.
But for me, Babyface, he's unique because he's kind of what I was talking about when I said he's like commercial. He's got the formula, but he also talks about things that are kind of timeless. But his stuff is, to me, kind of like in a certain lane. It's like lovey. It's like in the same genre of what he's talking about. To me, Stevie Wonder is just universal. He just talk about life, and that's just that resonates with me. I don't think he's so much better than Stevie Wonder. It just resonates with me because I'm super like universal like that in a way. Stevie writes it's just mystical to me. I
just feel to me Stevie Wonder has wrote some of the most beautiful songs. Like if you think about if you think about Ribbon in the Sky, those are songs that when you listen to them, you're like, damn. Good writer, The Dream, to me is a good writer.
Yeah,
like, I'm like, all right, you can write a song.
No, he's a good writer.
Yeah, but great writer, I don't know. I just don't know if his stuff is like. I think your criteria is really, really on point in terms of like timeless. I don't know if 50 years from now people are going to be playing "Shorty You a 10." 50 years from now, people will still be playing "Ribbon in the Sky" at their wedding, right?
That's true.
That's a fact.
Because 50 years from now, people are going to be still getting married. They're going to still be falling in love, but the 10, whatever that may change.
That only resonate in certain areas.
Right.
It's funny you talk about Stevie, and I'm a big proponent of imagination. It seems like you have a very big imagination, which I love. And in order to be a writer, you have to have imagination. You have to be big, pulling it from somewhere. But early on in your career or in your life, what was it like? You signed a deal as a teenager. So what was it like then being signed to a major label?
Oh, that situation, it's crazy because like I've done several interviews and nobody asked me really about that in detail, and I'd be kind of happy because I don't really want to talk about it that much. But I'm gonna try to keep it as short as sweet. It was one of those situations that don't happen that everybody feels like if they're not a part of nepotism, they feel like, oh, I'm just going to be like singing one day somewhere and all of a sudden Clive Davis is going to hear me and say, hey, who are you? Hey, have my people call. We think it's going to happen like that, and it's not, but it was a situation like that. I was pursuing music since I was like I don't know, maybe 13, 12 or 13, I was kind of like starting to do stuff like sing in different places and stuff. But I was about 15 at the 14, and I sung at somebody's wedding, and I didn't even want to sing at the wedding. It was a close family member. We were in New York, and they had a really big, really expensive wedding, and I didn't. What I sung was "Ribbon in the Sky." I recorded "Ribbon in the Sky." That was my first song that I ever recorded. I was like 14 years old, and I recorded "Ribbon in the Sky," and I did it in New York at the time where I was. And they heard it and everything, and they were like, they kind of put me on the spot, and they were like, "Do that song, please sing the song, please sing the song." Long story short, I sung the song. I did not want to sing it, but in the audience was an executive from Warner Brothers.
Wow.
It was the person who was getting married. It was her aunt, her mom's sister. She worked for Warner Brothers, and she just literally, from me just singing "Ribbon in the Sky," 14 years old, that's where the record deal came from. And she basically just walked me in, but it, unfortunately, at the time, they didn't care how old I was. They were trying to sell sex. They did not want to. I was
wow.
Yeah, I tell people I used to be attractive, y'all. But I was songwriting in. I was writing all my own stuff. I was like, I was like a machine. I didn't need the machine. Like, I had everything. Just like now, I do everything on my own now. Whether it's in my videos, my wardrobe, my makeup, the direction, I do everything. Editing, everything. And I had like all of that, and I was fresh. I was young. I was attractive. I felt like I was a commodity, and I don't even know why they would try to like trash it like that. But that's kind of what it was, and they were just like trying to pull my creativity away from me, and they just wanted to put me in this other thing. And I can't even tell you how my mom got me out of that situation, but and I'm thankful. I would not have it any other way. I'm thankful, but I made a lot of relationships, just from that point on, and done a lot of things. But that's my little non-exciting story.
So let me ask you this though, because I think before you came on, Rob and I were talking, and one of the things I was saying about Rob is I feel like things happen in life, like there's a higher power that has a grand design for us. So what was the takeaway from that? What have you learned as a result of that that's applicable to what you're doing now?
That I never get nowhere on my back, and never will I. And like I said, I got 6 queens, and kids don't do what you say. They watch what you do.
What you do. That's a fact.
And that's why they know that you can turn heads with clothes on, and they understand that their talent and their gifts are worth something. And it's powerful. And so I definitely learned that, and I would never waver from like my creative force. Like, I know that my intention and where it came from was such a pure place. I never waver from that. And yeah, I may not have ever made it to the big stage of the 30,000 people crowd and stuff like that, but there's people that's been listening to me since I've been 14 years old. People that they stand by. I don't even like the term fans. I just say supporters, people who support me, just like them. But at the same time, I just learned how to stand 10 toes down.
That's right.
And especially we're in the entertainment industry, and that's
integrity.
Important. That's super important, especially for a woman, and especially for a brown woman, because I've never seen any other woman in music in particular that is exploited the way a brown woman is. I don't know why. I don't understand the concept of performing a song in a gymnastics leotard. Like, I don't understand that. Not trying to down these other women. This is a different time. They're beautiful and everything else, but it's like this whole thing. I don't see the non-black women in music that they're not doing, at least if they're doing it by choice and not by force. I feel like there's an unspoken thing, like, we have to do this, we gotta look like this, we gotta show this in order to get eyes on us. And I'm rebuking that. I've been rebuking that for the longest.
Amen.
You should, sis. Rebuke all of them. Here's a better question. Tell us why you love fairies. Look at that. Yeah, there we go.
This is my favorite interview I have ever done thus far. Now, don't you ask me some bull toward the end, y'all gonna lose some points. Listen, y'all did y'all work. Y'all did y'all work. And before I answer that question, I just have to just say thank you, because I am into the details and I care about people and all the little idiosyncrasies that make them them.
Mm-hmm.
For y'all to have even if it was just for the business of this, to take your time and find out who I am, a little bit of who I am, that right there, that to me, if I would have exploited myself along the way, I wouldn't have earned that type of respect for somebody to feel I'm worthy to even look me up like that. So anyway, to answer your question, I love fairies because they're imaginative. You know, they're just that to me, they embody like everything that I'm super like into the earth, super connected to earthy things, and just everything about the imaginative creature. I just feel like I'm like a wingless fairy. I love mermaids. I mentioned that before. I used to want to be a mermaid until I decided I'd be scared of my tail and scared to be in the ocean at night. So I just kept it to the fairies. But I just love. I always have love. Like I love all kind of imaginative things. I don't know how much y'all into that stuff. Y'all see, I have my orange on from the Never Ending Story.
Yeah.
Y'all watch that. I got my Wonka pendant.
Yeah.
So I love fairies kind of fall into that. But one of the reasons that I'm a little, I would say, a little more just like into fairies is that, so when I suffered the tragic death of my only sister a few years ago, it was one of those things. I can't even explain it, but all I know is I was in like turmoil, I was in grief, and I found myself, you know, after having a panic attack, Tinkerbell was on, you know, or something. And then I just kind of fell into that. You know, we all addicted to what take the pain away. So it kind of got connected to that a little bit. And then I just start just the whole imagination of fairies and stuff and just everything that come along with it. And it's so many little things I can't even pick out and articulate it. I can write it for you. I'll write it down for you later. But, you know, but some of it was connected to, that's why I say I consider them like healing fairies. I say they're healing fairies because fairies, another thing I resonate with fairies is because if you ever like look into Disney fairies and stuff, they consider fairies to have talents. So everything that a fairy does is a talent. So like Tinkerbell is a tinker, that's her talent. And then they got a fast flying fairy, that's their talent. Then they got a water fairy, their talent is water. So I resonate with that because I have so many different talents. I'm multi-talented. And people that don't have multi-talents, they consider me scattered all over the place. But they'll accept, you know, they understand. Sometimes you gotta like have yourself in a certain category in order for people that are not in your category to understand how you function. So everybody accept me as a fairy. I have people even email me and be like, "Oh, you just remind me of a fairy. You look like a fairy." But then when I tell them that I write, I sing, I do this, they be like, "You all over the place." So okay.
But that's what a fairy does. Fairies all over the place, man. They're sprinkling their little dust on everybody. So you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, actually.
So, as part of your journey, I noticed something interesting too. You embraced the vegan lifestyle. So how did you come to become a vegan?
Well, y'all, it's on it. What do you mean on it? So yes, I have been raw vegan for several months now, and I have always like been interested in just like, you know, the natural way of life. And I have tried. I mean, for years and years, you know, you do one thing, then you come off it, do one thing, come off it. But it was literally connected to like my grief and some other things. I was just ill. I was sick. I was emotionally ill. I was mentally ill, physically ill, overweight, depressed, stressed out, full of anxiety, brain fog, just everything. And I literally had to make a decision whether I wanted to live or die. I was dying, and I had to make a decision whether I wanted to live or die. And like I said, I didn't just jump into it. I have kind of messed around with it before, but I just could never stick with it. But January 17th, 2024, I stuck with it, and I don't don't know what it was, but that was my time. I stuck with it. And I intermittent fast too. Oh, I feel I'm healthier than I have ever been my entire life. When I was 18 years old and 120 pounds, I am healthier because I'm healthier here.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's
and
right.
That's when it healed me there. I'm healing on purpose and I heal out loud. And I'm never going back to the sick me. I ain't never going back to the sick me. So the intermittent fasting is something that I do now that I didn't do before. I always heard about intermittent fasting. Everybody will say that and talk about it. I don't know why it never clicked to me, but it just clicked to me one day. I was watching this documentary and they were basically talking about how like you can't starve intermittent fasting, especially if you fat. If you overweight, it eat your weight up. And I had a whole lot of that. And I still got a little bit more to go. But it was like, it's going to eat it up. Eat your fat reserves up. You can't starve. The fact that we be so sick that we had that mind state like, oh, I'm going to starve. All this, you ain't for the starve. So, yeah, that intermittent fasting is what fixed me here. I mean, within 3 days, when I tell y'all, I was so depressed. Before January 17, 2024, I couldn't hardly get out of bed. It hurt to be. I didn't want to be here. It hurt to be. If I wasn't as scary as I am and had enough courage, I would have tried to take my life. I was that depressed. I couldn't move. And I was inflamed. I was swollen. My hands were swollen. It was my bracelets was leaving indentions on my arms. I was just my whole body was going out of whack because I was just sick. And that intermittent fasting is what fixed this. The raw vegan is physical and it also helped me with other things. But that intermittent fasting, by day 3, I wasn't depressed no more. I was positive. I was happy. I had energy of me just intermittent fasting, but I was intermittent fasting for like 16 to 18 hours a day. And it just, my brain fog was gone, my creativity came, and I never turned back. When I feel the results, I never turned back. And I had some little areas where I had, I was feeling a little like, ooh, because I'm still emotionally attached to the foods I used to eat. I'm from the South.
I get that.
I'm still attached, and I cook for my family every day. I cook every day. People they say, how you cook the food and you don't eat it and stuff. If I didn't do that, I think it would have been harder for me, because you know how some people, like when they try to stop smoking or something like that, and they have to get a little nicotine or something. Like me being in it, like cooking the food, doing what I was doing and just like smelling it and seeing my family devour it. I was kind of getting some satisfaction from that. But, I had little moments where I kind of would be like, but don't nothing taste better than healthy feel and look.
Nice.
Yeah,
I'm never going back. So
my wife and I, we did a fast at the top of the year. It was just juice and vegetables. I tell you, the reclaiming of your energy was the first thing that I received. I was like, wow, I just drank 8 ounces of carrot and mango and ginger. And I felt like I had a meal. Not only did I have a meal, I could get up and do some shit. Like I could get up and move around. It felt real good and liberating. But the discipline of doing it consistently, 8-ounce glasses 3 times a day, I had to stick with that because I was getting them crazy. I was looking at that pantry like
you needed it.
You know what I mean? And as the month went on, I did implement like pistachios and seeds just to give me a base or solid. But it was the best feeling ever to change.
Yeah,
I commend you doing that.
I think the journey is important, and you learn a lot about yourself, because I've done that. Like me and my husband did the juicing. We went what we thought was vegan, but it was really plant-based. We went plant-based for like 4 years, and I'm realizing the difference between plant-based, and vegan is raw, unprocessed. We was eating Beyond Meat and all kind, all this stuff.
Oh yeah.
So we did that, and I've just done like a lot of different things trying to get to this point that I am now. But I realized that it wasn't time. This was the time for me. And so it makes me look back and say, I wish I was kinder to myself when I was feeling bad about being overweight, or, like all of the stuff I was going through. I was in my childbearing year. I was having children for 10 years and was talking about, look at my thigh and I'm feeling this. I was in my childbearing years. I wish I would have ate that up and just been fat and ate my food, knowing that I was going to be here now and just be happy and stop downing myself. All of that had something to do with even my sickness, that I had to get to the point where I had to save myself. But I think the journey is important. So like you said, you did your juicing. That's beautiful. You ain't doing it now, fine. Whatever it is for you, with your time, it's your time. And whatever your health standard look like, it look different for everybody else. I need to be raw vegan. It don't work for me. If I try to eat a turkey neck and then it's over here right there, next thing I know, something jiggling, baby. Okay. Yeah. So that's me. But some people eat, I've seen people and women, whoever, they eat meat, they eat whatever. They look they cool. Your body is your body. All I know is whatever you going for, whatever you trying to reach for, your standard of health, when it's your time, the universe, it's gonna happen anyway. So be kind to yourself right now.
That's right.
Don't even worry about all that other stuff.
That's right. Wow. So, yeah.
I was gonna say, talk to me about the different album names. I was really interested to see you. It was just based on what you're talking about now. The album's called Happy Anyway. One of the
yeah. So happy Anyway. That's that album was like it came off of it was fresh off of just grief and emotional illness. Yeah. And it was the whole thing behind, so if y'all did y'all research, y'all kind of know what my sister was to me and how she has everything to do with my music, and me and her were just connected at the hip, my only sister. And when she passed away, when she was passing away, because she was on life support for 3 weeks and we had to pull a plug. In that 3-week time, I could not sing at all. I don't know why. My speaking voice was not raspy or nothing. When I would try to sing, it would be, I couldn't sing. So I thought my voice had died with my sister. Honestly, I didn't, from whatever it came from in me, I thought it was gone.
Right.
Then one day I literally sat up a few months after she passed away, and I started singing again. And that album, I just said I had to finish something. I had to finish something that me and her started when we were little girls, little kids. And I just felt like I needed to finish something. So like how people, laugh to keep from crying, I was singing to keep from crying. And that whole album is like, it was just a walk down of like, just everything. It was all in order. And Happy Anyway is the title track of the album, but I have a song called Happy Anyway. And Happy Anyway was just like, it was my ode to my family. My sister was the first to go out my immediate family, so that was a hit for us. My parents been married 53 years. They buried their 40-year-old child.
God bless the parents.
And she was the first to go, And so I watched my parents age 10 years in 3 weeks. Neck got old and everything else. I watched what they had to go through to pull that plug. I watched my brothers and everything that happened between my immediate family. And that was my whole thing. Like, we gonna be happy anyway. We're gonna be happy anyway. We're gonna find a way to survive and be happy. I got custody of my niece, my sister only child. And
you got a plan over there, sis.
My 8 babies, 9 babies now. Actually, more than that, our oldest daughter had a little baby, so I got a little grand prince now, babe. I was a teen when I had her. She trying to make me old, but don't ask me nothing about that. Don't get on that.
I apologize. We're having like a crazy storm here, so my power went out.
Oh no, I understand, because my parents going through it too.
And but I was just wondering, like, even with a Happy Anyway, like, what exactly is happiness? Like, what constitutes happiness?
I think happiness is self-love. I think, and I'm correlating it to that because me being transparent, I didn't really love myself, and I didn't even realize that I didn't love myself until my sister died, because she loved me so well, and she was the absolute greatest person. Like I tell my husband, I love my husband. I love my husband. He is the love of my life, but she was my soulmate. Wow. And I had to decide that was how I had to survive her death. I had to survive her death by continuing to love myself the way she did, and I didn't.
Wow.
So me finding that and me getting to that point, I perhaps the greatest discovery is finding that you want to love yourself.
Yeah.
Say that again, because most people don't know that. Find out you want to love yourself. It's a deed to yourself to love yourself. And I just talked to a friend earlier, and I said, "Yo, bro, we give so much of ourselves to the outside world, and I think society perpetuates that on us to give out, but never to give in. And when you hear give in, you feel like it's giving up. Nah, give to yourself.
Mhm.
Focus on yourself a little bit more, because you're gonna need yourself when days come. You're gonna need to pull yourself through. I went through 2 kidney transplants, and I tell you, sitting on a dialysis chair, I had to pull myself up. I had to tell myself there's a kidney out there for me.
Yeah.
Every day I sat there, so I feel
That's
you.
beautiful.
Yeah. Why does it usually take, I guess, like tragedy or difficult circumstances for us to realize that happiness is an internal concept rather than external?
I think I think it's it was almost, it's like the jolt, the shock of it. Like, you don't think certain things gonna ever happen to you until they happen,
Mhm.
And I don't know, for me it was like like I said, my sister, like I don't talk about her to exploit the death or try to make somebody feel sorry for me. Like, all of this is true. Everybody who know me know her. She covered me. She covered me in so many ways. And I'm the baby of my family. She was my oldest
Wow.
sister. And I'm the baby. And she covered me. She protected me. She protected me from me. So
How about that?
like I lost the protection. I lost the protection. I didn't know where I fit in my family without her. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
I lost that protection. I was bare. I was naked metaphorically in this cold, cold world. And I had to, like, you just make a choice. Like, you gonna make a choice whether you gonna, like, live or die. You gonna survive, you gonna live despite the tragedy, what you gonna do. And I think for me, it was like her death was all these things that were in me, that she put in me, and things that I just had developed over the years. It was like her death, it was like a baby that made them be born. Like, her death made these things be born inside me.
Yeah.
And, 2 things that change you in life, and that's love and grief. You'll never be the same.
Yeah.
You'll never be the
Yeah.
same. So I had love, and I still got so much of it. But to feel that type of blow, it did me one of them clear. It did that for me.
Yeah.
Now that I'm in it, like, as people have been suffering tragedies and losing and going through more horrific things than me for so long. And then now me going through just that, it wasn't just that, it was a huge thing to me, but me going through that, and there's people going through worse than that, and they've lost loved ones back to back, and children and everything. I can't see how people can walk around not renewed, not made new. If you are still living after something like that, that's the real miracle, is when your heart continue to beat when they're stopped. So if you are still not growing and you hadn't become something brand new, that is just confusing to me. So I don't know, maybe it does I just thank God that it didn't do the opposite, and it tried to do the opposite. But I made it.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah, I commend you, and I'm sure your sister's extremely proud of you. I mean, like, I listen to you talk about your own children, and to have to be, selfless, and to step up and even take your niece in as well. Like, that's that's to be commended. Yeah, that's to be commended, and to me, that's a testament of the love that you have for your sister.
Oh yeah, listen,
So
I got a comment on that real quick with the thing with my niece, because I thank you for what you just said. But people say that to me all the time that don't know me that well. They'll say, "Oh, like, you got 8 kids, you took in your niece. Look, how about I couldn't live without her?"
Look at it,
She's a clone of my sister.
He's the extension. That's right.
Yeah, and nothing, and it was always her and my sister.
How about
My father was never active, and it was her and my sister. And I it was always, nothing is different. My niece was always with me. We were always with them. My sister was like a mother to my kids. I was like a mother. The only thing different is she's not here. So please understand, like she added value to my family. She's a wonderful, wonderful girl. She's just like her mom. Never been in a fight in her life. My sister never been in a fight in her life. Nothing. I mean, just she's her mom, and I couldn't. I'm thankful. I'm thankful that I was able to get.
That's great.
It's beautiful.
That's dope. That's dope. I like that story. That same album. There are two songs that I like. Of course, it's Greedy. That right there, so you get on my nerve. They on my nerve. but the song Music is Love. Talk about that song a little bit.
Oh yeah, Music is Love. That's my heavy hitter. I did that with the infamous DJ Jazzy Jeff and the wonderful Carvin Haggins. Now he's a great songwriter.
He's a great songwriter, yeah.
I should have mentioned. I'm sorry, Carl. I'm sorry. I did that song with them, and that's the thing. That song is. We ain't gonna say how old it is, but I did that song some years ago. It's not fresh. And when I recorded that song, it was me, my husband, and my sister. She was right there. I did that song, and we recorded that at Jazzy Jeff's personal home studio. And the whole situation was it was so beautiful. It was just we did the song right there on the spot. There was nothing that was it was no preliminary time. Jazzy Jeff made the beat right there. Carvin wrote right there. I recorded. We did that song in like a few hours.
One take.
It was really magical. But the thing about it is, like I said, I did that song some years ago, and it was me really. At first, they were supposed to put it on this compilation, this thing he was doing at the time, and for whatever reason that didn't go. But I could have just, still like pushed for it to get put out. And I'm the one who didn't initially want it put out. It was a great song, but it was, it's got a neo soul feel. And I was so busy at the time trying to run from what I felt like it was what's the word I'm looking for? The chains, the shackles of the genre of neo soul. Run from it like, I was like, because, if it did something and it, made some noise, I was like, then that's how I'm going. That's my first impression. I'm like, I'm going to have to wear brown and burn incense all the time. And I want to do that. Sometimes I want to wear rainbows, and it was, that's probably silly, but that's what I was thinking.
Nah, I get it.
Like, girl, you did a song with Jazzy Jeff and Carvin, like, girl, you did, but I was thinking that. And my sister, she was so humble, so cool, and she would always say every once in a while, like, why you won't put the song out? Like, I love that song. Like, you won't tell Carvin and do the song. And I used to be like, cause see, because I don't want to wear head wrap all the time. I ain't gonna be nothing. I want to do rock and roll, And then she would just always say it. It took When She Died. That was the song that catapulted everything. I was like kind of laying dormant in music for me. Like I still would perform, and stuff like that. Like I have a contract with college out here in California, and I perform for them every year for their end of the year thing. And I would do stuff like that because I love to perform. That's my thing. I like never stop performing, but I was like kind of laying dormant. Like I was having babies, I was being a wife, I was writing books, I was doing that. But when my sister died and that my voice came back, and that was the only way that I could articulate through my pain. I picked up the phone, called Carvin. I mean, I can't even remember last time I talked. Like me and Carvin, we always, we like family, but I hadn't talked to Carvin in some years. I picked the phone up and I was like, yo, boom, boom, boom. Let's can we put the song out? Da, 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 da. He was like, he was like, let me hear it again. He was like, I ain't heard it in a long time. I forgot. And then he pulled it up while we was on the phone. And he was like, yeah, this is nice. This is nice. He was like, all right, let me make a phone call. Long story short, boom. Carvin, man, a few words, a lot of action. And it just like that. And so he put it out. Within a couple weeks, it was on the radio. It was playing in the tri-state area. And then I was number 3 on the charts in the UK. I was above people that I like. I was over PJ Morton and Rock. I was like, what? So it was like, it just took off. And so because it was like the start of me, like this rebirth of myself musically, I made it the first song on my album. I did it years ago, but it's one of those timeless things. I think it's a timeless song. Nice. And
great music is.
But Music Love came from.
Yeah.
So
Definitely a composed song. I like that song.
One thing I noticed about you, and I would say I call it singers with courage and braveness. The people that get out there and perform with bands and not do the recorded songs, because recordings could make anybody, technology could make you sound like a different person. But when you're out there with a band performing live, you are who you are. So how'd you get into the performing with bands?
Oh gosh, that right there is my thing, performing. Everything I do in music is to perform. I love performing. All the songs I record, whatever I'm doing, is just so somebody can know me, so they can pay me and let me perform. Like all I care about is performing. Now, my husband, he's a musician, and he is my drummer. And,
Okay.
and then his brother is my keyboardist. We've been playing together for nearly 20 years.
Nice.
Now I use one of our daughters. She sings in the background with me.
Oh, nice.
So it's just like we just got a synergy. Like, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, we don't be barely rehearsing by force, not by choice. I mean, like, I had did one submission to Tiny Desk. I never
seen that.
I never do that again. I hate anything like that. Like, it's so subjective because somebody think this person good, not good, whatever. But that was like in the time that I was on full throttle. I was doing everything I could because I was getting through my pain, my grief, and just doing everything that I feel like me and my sister, she would have wanted to see me do. So I did that Tiny Desk. And when I tell you, we did not rehearse. We did that. If you watch that Tiny Desk submission, we did that. That was like 2 takes, and it wasn't because we had to. We just did 2 takes. It was like, okay, here go another one. Boom. It was straight through. It wasn't no editing. There was no voice fixing up. There was nothing. Everything was raw. We didn't rehearse nothing. We did the song, and a few hours later, I went to the hospital. My little son had surgery. I didn't. And I listen. So we had that type of synergy. Like, somebody could call us if the price is right tomorrow. We gonna get up there and hold it down like Robert Glass or whoever else, because first of all, there's talent there, there's gift there, but we just got this synergy. They just they read me, I read them. So I love performing, and I don't, listen, like Prince said, my mic be on. I don't care about no look. The sound can go out, whatever. I sing without that mic. I don't need nothing. What you get is what you get. Everything is in the raw. Everything on my recordings is the same thing you get live. And I just love it. I think that's where my confidence is. My confidence is in performing. Like, you can't tell me nothing because they feel good to me. I don't care what it sounds like to y'all, but I've been feeling good. And I've been feeling up there.
Who's playing the bass? Like, is there somebody else? You have a bass player you work with, or someone's playing the bass? No, I was gonna ask the next question I was gonna ask you is about the song Somebody.
Well, what you was asking me, who playing the bass on what?
On Somebody. I was gonna ask you who's playing the bass on Somebody.
Well, that whole production was done by Yanti Strickland. Okay. Big Yant is his Instagram, and so I don't know the ins and outs of exactly who and what they use to do what, but I know that he produced that track. Yanti Strickland, he went crazy on it. I love what he produced that track. That was Big Yant.
So what's the inspiration behind it? Because like I listened to it quite a few times. The first initial listen, I was like, all right, so she's talking about her partner. Then there's like a line at the end where it says something about like your children and your husband. So I'm like, is she talking about God? Like, what's the inspiration? Who are you talking about in the track Somebody?
Well, of course, any love interest gonna always be my baby daddy, y'all. But if I'm talking about any love interest for myself, I'm always channeling. Of course, I'm channeling my husband. But somebody, it's just like any other song, whatever you want to fit up in there. If you think I'm talking about God, okay.
Yeah, because I'm like metaphorically, look, I'm just saying that could be, I could see somebody in the church making that one heck of a gospel record.
Oh, too. That the church will change anything, make anything. But you know what? It's open. It's open to, hopefully, it's open to a male and who he feel like his somebody is, or it's open to, for me, I think it is undertones of that. It's open to somebody don't have to be your significant other. It don't have to be a lover. You know, your somebody could be, shoot, my sister was my person too, you know. You know, and what way you can be in love with your sister, I was in love with her. You know, what way you can be in love with your children, I'm in love with them. You know, so your somebody is, it's just your person. Whoever that person is, it may not even be your girlfriend or your husband or your wife or your mom or your dad. Your somebody could be a childhood friend. It could be somebody you don't talk to all the time, but they just light you up inside, you know, and they add to you. They add to you. So I don't know, but of course that part in the bridge, that was personal. I wrote that part. And so that was personal because I say that even in like the beginning of my little dedication of my first book, I say that in there about my husband. I say that he dug all the way past the pain, the regret, the insecurity, the self-hate, and the anger and the issues, and he went all the way down. He went past all that, and he loved me there.
Nice. It really has like a feel good vibe to it too. Like it's, you know, it's a record that you could listen to. It's melodic. You could listen to it over and over, and it's very catchy. So that's your first single. That's a good pick, a good choice.
Yeah, I think that it's like it brings back like that nostalgia and that like pureness of the R&B, like from the 90s and the 2000s. You know, like R&B changed. Like everybody has like certain sound now, and they have this little like, you know, computerized like overly voice and sound. I don't know. It just, for me, it felt like a little Shantae Moore and a little, you know, you know, I ain't no Shantae Moore. I ain't no Shantae Moore.
No, you're definitely your own voice, but Shantae, I see where you're going with that.
It felt like that to me. The song felt like that to me. Like, you know, it just feels like, and I feel like that should come back in R&B, and not just R&B, especially with women. Like, I feel like I want to see the sweat above your lip like Whitney Houston. You know what I'm saying? Like, we ain't doing it no more. We ain't doing it. All we doing is being sexy and talking about all this good and everything. Okay, but will he die for you? Well, how good is it? Did he marry you?
Right.
So, I mean, what you got from that? You know, so I think that is what that song feel like to me. It feel like the pureness and the, you know, that R&B, like, and that's what I like about it.
You know, it's very. You familiar with Jane Hancock?
Yeah.
She's out in LA too, I believe. Her sultry voice, and I listened to her, I was like, thank God, R&B sign is making a push back. It's just blowing right now, and I'm loving that because it felt very contemporary. I'm like, yeah, this is what I need. I'm gonna sit here and just listen to this right.
Oh, that's dope. Thank you. That was all carving though, because I'm gonna tell you, I had to really pocket myself for that song. I had to keep it in the pocket. And you know, Carvin had this saying, because he used to, you know, like dealing with me, and he was like, look, don't outsing yourself and don't ride past the money. You know. And he was like, you know, singers, you got singers and all of this other stuff. He was like, but the consumer, most of them, he was like, I can't sing too good. You know, these people, they can't sing too good. All you got to do is you just got to nail what you need to nail. And you got to be able, people want to be able to sing along and be able to relate. He was like, you're doing all of this and all of these jazz runs and stuff you're doing, but they ain't going to want to sing along with it. So this was me trying to, like, I guess, commercialize myself a little bit, because I'm real whimsical and grungy. I consider myself like a tropical R&B grunge singer, whatever that is. But
you just created a new genre.
Get back to, I was trying to. So that was Carvin, Genius, and Steph Chambers. She was also the songwriter in that song and arranger in that song. And that was them. That was their magic. Like, they really just was like, they knew exactly what was needed, and they kept me in line. I'll be going all the way over here, and it was like, come back. Just come back.
I definitely, I mean, I don't know if you started mapping out like as soon as I heard the song, I was like, I just seen the vision for it. I'm like, yeah, I could hear this in church, a church rendition. I could hear this on commercials.
Yeah.
I could hear this in summer.
That's the first time I heard that now.
What, like commercials or church?
No, like church or something. That's the first time I heard that.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you do a church version, just be like, you know, Shannon from No Ideas Original.
I'm not finna do no church version. I told you we ain't got to do that, because they take everything.
Now you want to be the one to monetize it. You don't want, Kurt Franklin up there.
But it's gonna be monetized. It's gonna be monetized. The ASCAP and the publishing information is there.
There you go.
Run me my money.
Yeah. So
y'all get on my nerves.
you seem to have quite the entrepreneurial spirit. Where did that come from? Like, what made you become because I see you, as kind of like almost like a serial entrepreneur. Like, you got your hands in all these different things. Was that inherited from your parents, or just something that
I was just about to say I get it from my mama. My mama. She was the oddball black woman in the South. She was into health when it wasn't cool. She was taking herbs when it was hippie-ish. My mama that's my mom, and she's still to this day. She's a professional hairstylist, and she does everybody hair, black, white, men, women, and she dominated doing that. Like a lot of our culture, especially in her time frame, it was like you should, what you doing with, she would be the only black person in a white salon because she could do everyone's hair, and then she would be in she would go in these 5-star salons when they serving wine and stuff before that was cool, like in the 90s and stuff like that. Yeah. She was the only one like booth rent, and the rest of them was in a different way. She was like her own. And my mom is just like, she's super creative, like still to this day, she always doing something. She come visit me. She in the middle of the floor painting, creating
Mom, yeah.
And she always, listen, me and my sister used to joke about it, man. My mama been having the same sale for like 100 years. Everything is, I'm gonna have a sale. But we like, Mama, what do you have? Why did you buy this airplane engine from Goodwill? Because I'm gonna do a sale. Everything is always sale. So my mom she had that spirit, and I believe that like our kids, they level up. So like my kids better than me. My daughter, she sings better than I sang at her age, and everything I do, whatever my art, my drawing, my kids, they draw like crazy, like blow your mind the way they draw, and everybody, and they level up. So I leveled up a little bit from my mom, but it came from my mama. My mama is a go-getter, and I think, and that came from her dad, because her dad, he was a barber in the South in Florida. He owned 2 barber salons as a black man in the South in the 40s and the 50s, and on their street he had their home built. He was the first one on their street that owned his home, built their home. They were the only home with a bathroom. And so that came from, I guess, my granddaddy too.
There you go.
Yeah, speaking of moms, man, because you hold so many hats and wear so many different shoes. What's the best part for you of being a mom, and also the most challenging? Because you have twins, but I think you reported that they're on the spectrum of autism, and you also have a daughter that deals with epilepsy.
Yes.
My grandmother deals with epilepsy.
Oh yes.
So I know that feeling. So what are the pros and cons, the best parts, and the most challenging of being a mom?
Oh, the best part of being a mom is the love. You will never feel or be able to project the type of love that you will as a parent. That's a completely different type of love. It's different from your mate. It's different from a mother. I remember I thought I couldn't love nobody more than I love my mama until I had my first child. Wow. I just thought it was impossible. And then the way my kids love me is so pure. It's so original. It's like I seen this saying that said, "Mother is the name for God on the lips of little children."
Wow.
And that is just the purity. Like when you love like that, you can't miss. You don't miss. You can't lose. It fill you up in another way. So the love is so fierce. And it's and they give me my kids are like they're my muse, like that's where my motivation comes from. Like some people ask me like, how can you do all the stuff you do with kids? It's because I think I might be kind of boring if it wasn't for them. Like I don't know, they just do something to me. Like I just I can't stop. I cannot stop. And that's just that. And then I say the most challenging part of being a parent, of course, it's challenging having kids with special needs. That's a thing that really tests who you are as a person, and it make you like reflect on yourself. Like I've even realized some of the quirks that I have about myself with that I may have some of the same quirks that they have in their spectrum and within their disability, because I don't like it about myself. And then I realize like what is getting on my nerves. Like he's not doing anything. What is that? And I have to sit back and reflect to myself and be like, what is your problem with that?
Yeah.
So it's a lot of self-reflection that's involved. It's a lot of transparency, and it's, when dealing with kids with special needs, but it really be about yourself. And it make you think about, make you face the issues that you have. Because they don't have the issues. It's us having the issues, dealing with them being different from you. So that is challenging, of course, dealing with anyone that you love that have special needs. But I think the most challenging part of being a parent is like knowing that you don't have this ain't practice. You don't get no do-overs. And the only thing that I am thankful, because I have so many children, that things we learned with our oldest daughter, now, I know, okay, don't do that. Kids that need the most love ask for it in the most unloving ways. You don't do that. Now I learned that, but you don't get it's, you ain't got nobody, you don't have no days off when you depend on you.
That's a fact. Yeah.
So like it's just taxing. It's emotionally taxing. It's mentally taxing if you want to be a good parent. Now, if you want to just like throw everything by the wayside and just kind of, then I don't think parenting is that hard. But me knowing that every single thing matters with a kid, every tiny thing, because they grow up and they are those adults that have that trauma, or they have that, like, those things don't leave. It forms who they are. So every little tiny thing is important to me. So having multiple kids, it's just one me and it's a lot of them. And sometimes I get depleted, and that is difficult. But it's work, it's rewarding work. I wouldn't have it no other way. I tell everybody, my kids is like my limbs. Like people say, like, how you do it with 8 kids, and then I'll say, well, how many kids you got? And they'll say 2, the same way you do it with them. Or they say, I ain't got none, the same way you do it without them. They're a part of my life. They like my limbs. And I get I don't say, well, I'm gonna wash one butt cheek and a toe and a knee today. I wash my whole body, and they are just my life. So whatever I'm doing, they got to fit in it. And however I do it, okay, boom, I got to fit it in it, and it just is what it is. Just like we don't question why we got teeth in our head and why our hair is the way it is. They just part of my life. So
that's a fact.
You got a beautiful relationship with your kids, man. Especially when you told your daughter, "Can you hold these rocks?" She's like,
y'all are wonderful. Y'all are so wonderful, because I do that type of stuff that y'all are doing. Like y'all are just wonderful. Y'all care, and I enjoy. This has been the best interview I have ever had, because y'all actually delve into who I am.
So, yeah, Yada, you do yours, and then I got last one.
I gotta ask you, listen, I see you got a relationship with Japan. Listen, I'm looking on the schedule there. Got a performance in Osaka next year. How did that come about?
Well, you know what? I love the Asian culture, but I'm like particularly obsessed with Japan. My debut book is in English and Japanese. My oldest read, write, and speak Japanese.
Oh wow!
So, I just love the culture. And me and my husband went to Japan for the first time for our anniversary last year, and I already knew some different people there, but I made some relationships while I was there. And then my music did this little jump in Japan. Like I it just did this jump in Japan. So it was greedy. You keep talking about greedy. That's what it was. Like they just kind of like went all over greedy. And so it did this crazy jump in Japan. So I was able to get in contact with somebody that has, just like a little independent establishment. And I plan on going back there anyways, because I also am dealing with some business with my art over there.
Nice.
And so I'm just gonna make it do what it do.
Nice.
Yeah. So what besides Japan, what's next for Cloette?
Well, I make this joke that I'm gonna retire. I think I'm gonna retire from the forefront. I'm gonna retire from the forefront. I'm a professional. I done put 10,000 hours, over 10,000 hours in.
I was talking about that the other day.
But no, because I'm just at the point where I am gonna finish this. I have another single that is coming out in a few months, or 2 or 3 months, and I also did that with the Ring Music Group, with Carvin Higgins and Steph Chambers. It's dope. It's a beautiful, beautiful song. So those songs kind of motivated me, and I had a few other songs that I was working on, but it kind of motivated me to. I'm probably gonna do I see myself doing one last project for the forefront. But I'm also a songwriter and arranger for the Ring Music Group, which is a group of elite
RMG.
Yes, and producers and stuff like that. So my husband is a producer with them, and I'm also a songwriter with them. So I'm definitely going to still be in music and behind the scene, more like in the magic making. So I definitely want to do that. But I don't know. I'm not going to call it, because I don't know, whatever, things grow their own legs, and I don't know, because somebody is actually doing really good, and then I have the video coming out soon, so hopefully that make it grow some new legs, because we got a cute little video to go with that. And so I don't know what's going to happen with that, but I know as far as like my book and my my books and my art, all of that is paramount. I am doing that. I have some things coming out. I actually am in talks with Disney and BBC with my little.
That's gonna work.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, and
that's gonna work. That's gonna work. They see your work. That's gonna work.
But they already have, so I'm actually in talks and in stuff with some of the executives. So we'll see what comes from that. But I love doing that. I love doing all of this. But I find that my writing and my art allows me to be more present with my children, especially my ones with special needs. And that is like one of my main concerns. I can multitask, and I can do whatever people say I think I can't do. I'm gonna do it twice and take pictures. But my main concern is my children, especially my boys. They're my babies, and they they present their special needs, and also because they are boys, I just am very interested in giving them exactly what they need as boys, because they're gonna grow up to be men, and I'm not gonna slip with that, and ain't nothing more important than that. So I'm still gonna do what I do, but I'm gonna do it to where I can have the time and the space to be what I need to be for my children and my husband, but especially my children with special needs.
That's the way it's supposed to be. Give out your social media. I know we got your IG on the screen, but where else, if people want to get in contact with you, could they get in contact with you?
Well, you know what? I have a TikTok page, but I don't be on it. I tried to get my niece them to run it, okay. But I have a TikTok page. It's under Clowettes Music, but I have Facebook, but that's kind of bootsy too. But I do most of my like social media through Instagram. Of course, my music, you can stream it and find it anywhere. Just put my name in, just how it's on the screen, just spell it. And you can, a lot of my stuff links off to stuff, but a lot of people don't know that I'm the same. Like some people that follow me with art and they buy my art and stuff, they don't even know I sing. And the same people know I do art, and the people that I do books down. Some people haven't even connected all three of them. So, I mean, I could spell it out for you, but it's a lot to put. I don't know if y'all can put it on here later. But I mean, my little art creatures that I created, they're called Pobbles. Pobble, and they started out as original characters in my whimsical children's books, because I'm obsessed with water and rocks. I've been rock hounding. I find rocks and gemstones. I tumbler myself. I do everything, all of that. I'm a glass artist. I make their eyes. I sculpt right onto the rock and stone. And it was just these little creatures that I started drawing because I love rocks and water, and I just created them in my books. And then I started making them, and then now I sell them all over the world. So you can find that at, I call it Pabletopia, is their little world. And that's Pabletopia.com and Pabletopia on Instagram, and Tissy Rose Books on Instagram, and TissyRose.com, TissyRose.net.
And you do bush bean promos too.
Listen, I got into that little challenge. Did y'all hear the original? See, that's what's up. Yes, Pabletopia.com and then TissyRose.com. Y'all, yep, they all me. And yes, I do have Jamaican in my family. So with my kids, look, I always say, you know how people talk to baby when they're young and stuff, and I will always tell my little girl at times, like, give mommy Tissy May, give me a Tissy May, like instead of a kiss. I don't know why. Right. Tissy May. And I still to my little boys, I say, give mommy Tissy May, give me a Tissy Pop, give mommy Tissy May. So Tissy came from that, and then Rose is my mom's middle name because she was like my biggest fan. She was like, you know how mom is. Boy, it don't matter what you can have an ant farm. She'd be like, yes, that is gonna make it, and you gonna do it with that. And she was Tissy Rose was, look, I wouldn't have got through Tissy Rose if it wasn't for my mama. So that's how I got that name.
Well, thank you, Chloe. We appreciate it. Mom, wife, singer, songwriter, author, illustrator, everything. Appreciate you.
And a great
amateur movie critic, and a 2-star baker.
Great interview.